I do remember that was the year I had the contract with Region 20 to give my little music talk presentation to 100 schools. Seemed like a good idea. Big fat contract. The first couple of dozen of them were really fun. And then, some of you have heard the story, but you brought it up, so now I'm remembering my story. I was driving to my maybe 85th contract of the year, early in the morning, because elementary schools really wanted to start the day with 500 kids in the cafeteria listening to Rudi Harst. And I was driving down I-35, and there was a wreck on the exit before I was supposed to be there, and traffic was at an absolute standstill. Now, I'm going to be late. The principals are going to be mad. They don't like it when you're late at school. Things are going. And why am I doing this anyway? And I'm stuck there on the freeway right at the exit ramp on Division Avenue, appropriately named. I was fully divided about whether I should go do this gig or just call the principal and say, I'm sorry I'm late, I can't make it. That's how it felt. And right there where I was stopped waiting for traffic to inch ahead on the off-ramp, there was a yield sign, and there was a bird up there just singing away. Chirp, 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 chirp. And I was like, oh, that's why I gotta go. The bird's gotta sing. I gotta sing. I just gotta sing. It's what I do in the world, is sing and share my truth. So anyway, so I went on and we had a pretty great time because a little bird reminded me. And this morning, we were at a family wedding in Lockhart last night, went late, and so we spent the night. So this morning, got up at the crack of dawn to drive back in, pack my suitcase, and I found myself again, like, why? This is crazy. 34 years of Sundays, really? You're going to get up and do it one more? And yeah, I am. Because there was a little birdie right outside the window. Once again, chirp, 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 chirp. You're going to be all right. And then I get here and I see and feel it. And I feel that in this space we've co-created as a Celebration Circle community, there are doubters and believers, and they're frightened and confused. And there's faithfuls and there's faithless ones too. And sometimes we feel like losers, and sometimes we feel like winners, and sometimes saints and some sinners, but all are welcome here and affirmed just where we are, on our spiritual path and on our inner path. And what we have in common, I believe, is that those who are gathered in this room come from a variety of faith traditions and spiritual backgrounds and lifestyle choices. What we have in common is an understanding that we're not waiting for something out there to come save our lives and change our lives. We're not waiting for some omnipotent power to come snatch us out of our circumstances and make things good. We are here to co-create our reality in hopefully alignment with that which is greater than us, but not waiting for it to do the work, but understanding that we have a full and complete role in this process of co-creation. I believe our central work, my central work, let me speak for myself, my central work as a man who would walk a path of faith is to understand the importance of being with what is in the ebb and the flow of life. We'd all like to stay in some wonderful, magical, perfectly positive, empowering space all the time. And I'm going to try something with you. Think of a really magical, powerful time in your life. Just imagine it. Take a moment to feel where you were. Was it in Hawaii or was it in your backyard? What was the temperature? Who was there with you? Anybody? Or were you by yourself? Were you out in nature? Were you in a museum? Just take a moment to really find yourself. How many of you found that spot for yourself? A happy memory, powerful. Anybody want to share it? Just one sentence or what? What was that? A cenote in Mexico, that cold, clear water in the middle of all that there. Yeah, yeah. Anybody else? Yes. I'm sorry? Be, being hugged by your father when you graduated. That cold, clear water in the desert, that warm hug, yes. Tessa, yeah. Yeah, good. To share your poems? Yeah, wonderful. So, yeah, one more. Go ahead. Hawaii? Mm. Nice. Yeah. Yeah. Wonderful memory. Wonderful realization. Yeah, that's astounding, right? To think that sometime in the next 24 hours you will have shared at least one molecule of air that has been breathed by everyone who has lived on the planet before us. Cleopatra and the peasant in China, equally. Their breath has moved through your lungs at some point this day. Okay, different experiment, different thought experiment. Take a moment to, yes, Mary Grace. Wonderful, powerful prayer. Being on the beach, sitting by a cenote, waiting off stage, all these feelings of, yes, life. Okay, different thought experiment now. Take a moment to think of a really awful, terrible, no good, rotten moment in your life. One that you wish you could change. Maybe you don't have one, in which case, would you please come up and give the talk? Because you live a much better life than I do. Now, just take a moment, seriously, to think about it. And to feel just to feel that. And feel that there's a part of you that would rather never share it. I'm not going to ask for a show of hands. I'm not going to ask anyone to share it loud, because that kind of feeling we tend to do what with? Lock it up. Stick it way back there. So, in our time this morning, essentially what I'm inviting you to do with me is to hold both at the same time. That wonderful moment on the beach, at the cenote, on stage, and that awful morning of the car wreck, of the divorce, of the diagnosis, whatever it was that was terrible for you. And to feel that both are an integral part of the path that led you to this moment, in this place, in this time. And I would go further and say they are both gifts from the Holy One that have helped you become who you are, who I am in this moment. This is much easier said than done, grant you. It is the essence of the soul work we're all called to as spiritual seekers. It's not better than or less than or greater than the path of those who seek their answer in other ways. Some people really want some force to come and fix everything and think something else happened. But the path of the spiritual seeker, which I think is by definition what brought you to this room this morning, instead of going fishing or sitting in your bed watching TV, there is a part of you that is seeking a deeper truth, a deeper understanding, a deeper way of walking with Spirit in this life. And that hunger, my hunger, let me again speak for myself, my hunger to live from a place of authenticity and peace and compassion for myself and all that I encounter is exactly what pulls me forward in life. I'm not particularly motivated by a new car or a bigger house or shinier stuff. I lost my taste for that some years ago. At this point in my life, I want nothing more than to walk authentically, compassionately, and prayerfully. That's my desire, that's my hope. And I forget on a regular basis, which is why I find it important to come to the circle and gather with other spiritual groups that I meet with and work with, to be reminded again and again of the power of what I'm really here to do when I get distracted by the shiny stuff or the sad stuff. What a blessing it is to meet with a beloved community. It is a blessing for me to meet with a beloved community and to see reflected back to me all the beauty and wisdom and spontaneity. Laura, I'm so glad you and your family come again and again and you bring those bright, shining faces. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is a deep blessing to see those young ones just be present in the room. Because each and every one of us is here, I believe, to let our little light shine. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, 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 this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Can you feel what happens the moment that the drums kick in and you lift your voice in song? Something shifts, even in a silly little song like that. And doing it in community matters. I do it. I regularly just play by myself at home and play guitar and sing. That's fun. But it's nothing like being with a group of people and joining in the resonance of a song, even just that little ditty. And if that was all there was to it, that would be wonderful. But there's not. Because underneath, I'm being asked and you're being asked to remember in times of darkness that this light is here. I remember very clearly being out in West Texas once, one of those incredibly clear starless nights. I mean, the star-filled nights, just out there in the West Texas desert, miles from anywhere, and camped out there and waking up early in the morning and stars and feeling, meditating and then in 1 minute's time it seemed like suddenly the desert light was washing over everything and all the stars had disappeared, but I could still see them. And I knew this scientifically. Of course, we all know this scientifically. I was already in my 40s or 50s when I had this experience. But to suddenly get at the bone deep, marrow deep level, that the light is always shining. I just think I can't see the starlight. My light is always shining. I just think that there's something cloudy and sad and something happening in Washington, D.C. that keeps my light from shining. And it's their fault. It's my boss's fault. It's just, if only the economy were better, then I could be happy. I think that on a regular basis because I'm human. We're human. But we're here called again and again to look in the shiny mirror of community, of a fellow believer across the cash out counter at H-E-B, to just look in that person's eyes and suddenly see the divine spark in this person, right in this place. What a miracle. And it's enough to help us through the ebb and flow of life, because life is going to ebb and flow, but my choice to focus on the light and see it reflected in the faces of friends and strangers alike, again and again and again, to make that conscious choice, because it has to be a choice. That's what pulls me out of that place of forgetfulness and darkness and doubt and fear. Choose, oh yes. To remember that the four directions are all active at the same time, all the time. All the time the sun is rising in the east and promising a new beginning. And at the same time, all the time, something in my life is in the west, is setting, is dying, is asking me to let go and face into the mystery. Oh, and always, always the South is active with those rich blessings. Every moment of my life, that South is there with rich blessings and abundance and health and well-being. But always, always there's the North, something in my life challenging me, threatening to kick my butt, making me, asking me, inviting me to be in my sovereign self in connection with the divine. And to remember, as the great writer Annie Lamott said, God is not me. What is God? Not me. Something else, anything else, everything else out there besides these thoughts I have that are about limitation. So again and again, I'm called to remember the words of the great Indian saint and mystic Ramakrishna, who said, "The winds of grace are always blowing. Our job is to raise the sails." The winds of grace are always blowing. Our job is to raise the sails. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. With eyes open or eyes closed, won't you just feel that at a deep level somewhere inside of you, that equanimity, that willingness to be open and welcoming to all that is and all that is becoming. Aware there is no right way or wrong way to do this. Just your way, this way of coming to this precious present moment with heart wide open. And if your mind drifts off to other thoughts and fantasies, as minds will do, just come back to this moment, this place of peace and power. For that is what you are. And from this place of peace and power, won't you take a moment to radiate it out into the world, to a particular person perhaps, or persons, Send forth your love and your blessing, your light, your happiness, your faith, the truth of who you are, of a light shining in the world. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. And into this space we welcome all the struggling and pain and war and confusion in the world, acknowledging it's real. Feeling the truth of all those in poverty and hunger and living under the threat of war. And then sending love out, radiating it. Letting your light shine, let it shine, let it shine. All around the world. From the inside out. May you, may we, and all beings be blessed by your willingness to experience and express. We are one. And so it is. Amen.